Hey family, Dr. Turpeau here, Black America's Love Doctor, and we are talking as usual about love and life. And so we're getting ready to talk about an issue tonight. I have a letter or email, shall we say, from a viewer, and we're going to answer that question. But before we do, I just want to remind everyone to please like these videos if you like them. Click like. And also, please forward these videos to other people, share them, and please, please, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. So without further ado, we're going to get into the question for this evening. And it is a heart-wrenching one. When I read it, I'm like, oh. It's really bothers me when I hear people get themselves in these situations, when I hear people treat others in certain ways. So, but let's get into it. All right. So this evening, the email is the question. She says, "Dear Dr. Turpeau, I have a son that's 1 year old. The problem is that the father is married, and he told me this when I was 5 months pregnant." Now, I know you're probably wondering, how did you not know that he was married? Well, you have to understand that we both are in the military overseas, and his wife was back stateside, and here he was living the single life. The big problem I have is trying to get the father to establish a relationship between my son and I without his wife butting in all the time. He does have two other children with his wife, and I feel like my son shouldn't be treated different from his other kids. He tells me that his wife still wants to be with him despite that he had an affair and had another child, but she doesn't want him to have a relationship with his son, only paying child support, and that's it. Then she asked, how can I make friends with her for the sake of my son and get her to accept my son just as if he was hers? So, my dear viewer, uh, in a perfect world, um, we could all just put that behind us and everybody be one big happy family. I've actually seen this actual situation, a similar situations, a couple of times in my practice. So unfortunately, this is not an unusual, unique situation. I've seen similar situations before. But in a perfect world, everybody would be one big happy family. You'd be fine, they'd be fine, and everybody's cool. Unfortunately, we have to deal with the world that reality has given us. And so looking at the reality that the world has given us, let's look at this from a different perspective, shall we? Um, uh, you're saying that the father's wife, that your baby's father's wife, is butting in, and y'all can't work it out because she keeps butting in. Well, in reality, in actuality, my friend, the father's wife is not butting in. She's not butting in. Actually, you and your son are the ones who are butting in into his marriage and into his family. That's tragic. That's tragic and it's tragic because you were deceived. You were victimized. You were bamboozled. He wasn't honest with you. He did not inform you of his marital and parental status. He probably just saw you, wanted to get with you, have sex with you, and have or even a love relationship with you, and he lied and deceived you. Ended up getting you pregnant, which was probably not part of the plan. And so I'm sure when you informed him, it was probably an oh shit moment for him. So, so you have been victimized. He has victimized you, and but he has also victimized his wife and kids and your kid that you have together. Everybody's been victimized by his deception. So, so what do we do with that? Well, in reality, and we have to play the hand that we've been dealt. We have to play the hand and make the most out of what our situation is. When life gives you lemons, when you pick lemons off of a lemon tree instead of being given to you, when you pick lemons off of a lemon tree, we have to make lemonade, as the saying goes. So, how do we make the best out of this situation? So, first of all, I just want to say I'm glad that he is paying child support. At least they were honorable enough to do that and caring enough to do that, because that is the right thing and that is the appropriate thing. The problem is children just don't need money, but they also need to have a relationship with a daddy, and that is your present concern, and it should be because children need to have a daddy. And I think you said it was a son. I think, yep, you said it was a son. So sons definitely need daddies. Girls do too, uh, by the way. So, but they are unwilling to provide this to your son. Again, tragic. So, here's one thing in life that we have to recognize: you cannot force people to love you, and you cannot control other people. So, if you can't control other people, you can't force people to love you. Then what are you going to do? Because your son still needs this. So, it is up to you to ask yourself, how can I provide for my son's needs? And you got the answer to that question as far as the financial things. But now you need to ask yourself, how can I provide for my son's needs when it comes to his emotional needs, his bonding needs, his needs for daddy? And so, if you cannot control people and you cannot force this man to love you and your child, then you still need to get that need met for your son. So, my recommendation is that you need to find someone else who will. That's what you have to do. And so, what I would recommend is that the next time as you go out there and you try to find a love partner, you need to find someone. And my top criteria for finding someone, not is he 6 feet, is oh girl, he's fine, he got a little thug and he's got some swag. Not does how much money does he make. Um, all these things can be good to look for, but you need to look for all these things. But your top priority needs to be: will he be a good daddy to my son? So if I were you, this is how I would shift my paradigm and start thinking. And so until then, until you find that person, your son still needs a daddy or a daddy figure. And so then what I would do if I were you, I would go out and I would talk and recruit uh, family and friends. Uh, and it doesn't just have to be one person. You can ask several family members. Make sure they are positive male figures, people who are positive, people who got uh, things going for themselves, and people that you respect and that you admire. And just go up to them outright, blatantly ask them, hey, I got myself in this situation. I was hoping you would really do me the honor of please being a father figure to my child. And just come right up and ask them that. Most people may feel honored, will feel honored by that, and will oblige you. And the advantage of asking several people is that you won't wear one person out. Okay. So do the best you can in recruiting people amongst your family and friends, and until you find someone as your mate selection choice who can fill that need. But even if you find someone who has to meet that need, he can still have those good relationships with uncles or real uncles or godfathers who will take care of him. So you are able. It's unfortunate that you're in this situation, and my heart really does go out to you, but you are able to rise to the occasion. And you just have to accept, first of all, that you cannot force people to love you. We cannot control people, and you cannot force people to love you. Because even if we were successful in forcing people to love you, think about this: to love us. If we're successful in forcing people to love us, that love would be distasteful because that love would be shallow and it would be hollow and it would be resentful love. And nobody wants that. That type of love does not taste good. I'd want to spit it out of my mouth. So just keep that in mind. And also understand and remember, we need to find people that are ready to give us the love that we deserve. Okay. You need to find people that are ready to give you the love that you deserve. Harmonious wishes.